Hi, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And if you just saw the title, decide to click on, welcome. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And share. Here on Travel Buddies, what we do is we do everything travel. That's including vlogs, challenges, and tips and tricks on travel. And today is like no other. Today we're going to be talking about flight cancel, flight delays, gate changes, everything that could put a damper on your mood when it comes to travel. That's what we're going to discuss today. So if you're interested and want to know a way to just get by without letting that mess up your vacation, stay tuned. Okay, travel buddies, today we're going to be discussing the things at the airport that makes everyone cringe. As you see in the title, that will be flight cancellations, flight delays, gate changes, gate closures, weather, airport closures, layovers, everything that will make your vacation feel like And I have a small story time to start this off, shall we? Flight cancellation. I had a flight cancellation that happened to me. Now, all the years I've been flying, it only happened to me twice. And the first one happened in 2020, and I was flying way before 2020. The first one happened, I was headed to a wedding. And actually, me and my husband had just came back from another vacation, and we had been home for about 2 weeks. And this vacation, though, like made the other vacation, just a go do and get ready for this vacation, because we had been planning it for a year. It was a wedding. It was a big deal. So the morning of the wedding, I don't sleep before my flights. I get early morning flights because I like to stay up, because it makes me feel like the day before is like my vacation day, okay, because I'm still prepping. And so I was up, but I sat down to watch TV, and my eyelids was kind of resting a little bit. So while they were resting a little bit, I heard a little beep on my phone, a little notification. But I was like, oh, I hope it's not my Uber, because I also I put my Uber app. I reserved my Uber on the Uber app. So if I happen to let my eyelids, rest a little longer than it should, then my Uber driver will, make it known that they're there, and I can jump up and, be ready to go. Because I also do, I totally get dressed for that airport and all that, even though it's early in the morning. So I'm usually dressed full makeup, and then I let my eyelids rest a little bit. Maybe 15 to 20 minutes before time to, get ready to get in the Uber. So I heard it beep, and I'm like, oh, that's probably my Uber, canceling, but I'll check it in a minute, because I always put it maybe 30 minutes before I really have to leave. But if my Uber gets there early, I'll just get to the airport early. It's no harm or foul. So I was like, this might be maybe my Uber. Let me know that they're canceling, and I'm gonna just get up in about 5 minutes and book another Uber. So I'm sitting there, and my husband, he always packs the morning before we leave. So he's running around packing and asking me, do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? The normal, late packers questions. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, let me get up and check all my devices, make sure they're charged, and see what the notification was. So when I did that, the notification was our flight was canceled. When I looked down, my heart dropped, and I'm like, I didn't have the heart to tell my husband that our flight had canceled, because we had been preparing for this wedding for the longest. I was the matron of honor in the wedding. He was walking down the bride. So it was like, OMG. Like, we were dumbfounded at this point. So I go ahead, because I didn't tell him. I go ahead and I start to contact the airline. And so my husband was like, I think that's the Uber driver. I think he's early. I'm like, our flight's canceled. I mean, I don't know what he's doing here. At this point, I'm just snappy. He was like, what you mean the flight's canceled? I said, they just sent me a notification that the flight was canceled. He was like, oh, they better do something because we get to this wedding. And I'm like, I know. So I go back to the app, and they had another flight leaving the same time our flight was leaving. But instead of being laid over in Miami, we was going to be laid over in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm like, well, so I go to contact the airline, and in the midst of me doing that, they sent me a notification and told me that they had changed us to the flight that was laying over in Fort Lauderdale. So I was like, why get people all up in roar? Just change it. Just change it. Yeah, I know. So that was a good change. Now, I did have a flight change my second time, and they canceled the flight, and they didn't have anything for us for another 2 days to leave out of another location, and it wasn't from home. If it was a 2-day that they couldn't get us out here, at least we would have been at home, and you can find other flights and things like that. But when you are in another city, well, nothing was flying into our city that day. But we had to sit and wait for 2 days. So it was just mayhem. And y'all see this has been going around a lot. So let me give you 3 things that you should do if your flight is canceled. If your flight is canceled, the first thing you always want to do is hurry up and contact the airline so they can get you on as soon as possible, because everybody else is calling as well. Some people are running to the gates and things like that, but hop on the phone. Second thing you can do if your flight is canceled is start to look around for other airlines that might have a flight. That's a major one, because you want to do it fast, because everybody else is going through the same foolishness as you. And the third thing that you can do if your flight is canceled is look for a flight that is going near your airport, or that has frequent flights out of their airport to your port. So for example, say you're in DC, and everything is getting canceled. And say you're going to Texas, Houston. See if you can fly out to the other Houston. Houston has 2 airports. See if you can fly out to the other airport that's in Houston, or if you can go to Baltimore and fly out to Houston. Just find the nearest airport that has a lot of flights to that area. And another tip, if say you're going to Atlanta and nothing is going out towards Atlanta, find you a Delta flight. They'll get you to Atlanta. So those are the 3 things you could do if it's canceled. Make sure you find a way to get to another port, or you could just, like I always do, make a longer vacation out of it. I always, if it's away from home, I just find a hotel and make a longer vacation out of it. But some people don't have that luxury, especially if you are traveling with limited funds. If you and I don't suggest it, but some people do, they travel with limited funds. And if you do travel with limited funds, and what you want to do is also make sure you can find a hotel outside of the airport perimeters during that time, because everybody's staying close. If you stay farther away, you'll get a cheaper flight. Alright, so that's pretty much what you can do for flight cancellations. The next is flight delays. Now, flight delays are not that bad. The only thing with flight delays is if you're at the airport, usually, most likely, they're going to change your gate. Listen, because one day I almost missed my flight because I fell asleep. And I was sitting at the gate and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, everybody was gone. And I was like, what the world? Did I miss my flight? But they had changed them to another gate. And luckily, I woke up, because I had never heard of, they had made announcement after announcement after announcement. Time I got to the other gate, they were on their last call. So I would have been out of luck. So make sure that you pay attention to the gate changes when you have a delay. And usually That's what's happening in that gate. That flight can't get there. They moving to another plane. Just make sure you pay attention and watch the overhead monitors to find out when you have a flight delay, if it's going to be at that gate. All right. Flight delays also what you want to do too. If it's more than 2 or 3 hours, you might want to ask. If it's more than 4 hours, you might want to ask the airline if they have a place that you can get a hotel for a couple of hours or things like that. And sometimes they delay them for 8 hours. So just ask. I mean, it doesn't hurt, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they will accommodate. All right. Next, we have gate. I talked about gate changes. Gate changes happens a lot, so pay attention to where your gate is. Always look at the monitor. Always download the app to the airline that you're traveling, so you can know if they have any gate changes. And the reason you want to do that is because you can be sitting there, and they could be boarding, and they did a gate change, and you're not aware, and you can run to that gate. And say you went to get you something to eat and came back, and they're about to board, and it's not your plane that they're boarding, and your plane is now somewhere else in another gate. You want to be prepared, and you want to be starting to walk to your other gate, and so you don't have to run through the airport. I hate running through the airport. I don't care if I'm comfortable. I don't care. I hate running through the airport. I hate when people running past me, because I might have an issue, but when it seems like everybody running, I be in the urge to run too. So I don't like that. So briskly walk, you guys, and find out where your gate is before. Weather you cannot change, and when they says weather, just sit down, because a lot of places they will close their airport for weather, and if they close their airport for weather, there's no fighting back. You have no alternative. You just stuck right there. You stuck. You just, because it's already nasty outside if it's weather. So you can't leave. And if you do leave, you have to get in that weather. And it's just, weather. So when it's weather, you just weather the storm. And I mean that sincerely. I'm looking down at my notes to make sure I don't forget anything for you guys. The next one is layovers. Layovers can be a pain. I love a layover. Layovers is my way to extend every vacation. And yes, I said it. If I have a layover that's more than 3 hours, I'm going to view the city. If I have a layover that's an hour or 2 hours, then I'm going to just chill and wait. If I have a layover and I've been to that place before and we didn't visited everything we needed to visit, then I'm going to go in the lounge and I'm going to relax myself. So if my layovers are longer than 2 hours, I appreciate them. I gather myself, I prepare myself, and I'm ready for the next roller coaster. In the next airport, I want to see the shops that they have at the airport. I enjoy the airport. That's what I do on my layovers. It's never I got an hour layover. If it's just the hour, by the time, whoo, that was a tongue twister. By the time I use the restroom, get me something to eat, and find my gate, they boarding. So, an hour layover, just call it 20 minutes. Because that's the only thing you have time for. Because the time you get to your gate, they're going to be boarding. And if your flight is a 2 hour, go get you some layover, go get you something to eat, use the restroom. Time you get to your gate, they're going to be boarding. If it's a 3 hour, go get you something to eat, use the restroom, walk to the shops, get to your gate, plug up your devices to charge, download anything you need to download. You're probably going to have time to download maybe a movie or two or a book. And your flight's going to be there. If you're 4 hour layover, do the same stuff. But you might want to go check out the city. If you have a 5 or more layover, try to get you in a lounge. Chillax, chill, eat, sleep, and get ready for your flight. And those are the little tips and tricks I have on all those things, but don't let it put a damper on your travel. Make it fun, make it relaxing. I know cancellations can be annoying, can be depressing, but look at the bright side. And with that being said, thank you for watching. And if you want some more tips and tricks, make sure you stay tuned. And I have a challenge coming up with hubby again. So if you're interested in seeing it, stay tuned. And if you haven't watched my last one, check it out. It was funny. Check it out.